The anime opens up and we see a salaryman go to the bank machine. He tries to withdraw some money, but his usual credit or bank cards don't work. However, a strange card does work and changes the appearance of the ATM screen. The change screen offers him a special opportunity and asks him to choose an opponent. He agrees to the offer and a taxi appears out of nowhere to take him to a mysterious place called the Financial District. In this district, we see a new person named Mikuni, who explains how money is very important in this world. Later, we see Mikuni on a date with a girl named Q. Suddenly, a strange man named Masakakai arrives and tells him that he has an urgent deal to handle. It turns out that Mikuni's opponent is the same working man. The fight begins, and despite the working man trying his best to defeat Mikuni and win his money, he's easily overcome and loses. The scene changes to a college where we meet an introverted boy named Kimimaro. He's studying hard for a college entrance exam, and a girl named Hanabi notices it. After class, Hanabi talks to Kimimaro about his future plans. Although he doesn't say much, their conversation is interrupted by two other boys who invite them to a party later that day. Kimimaro simply declines and walks away. Later, he goes to withdraw some cash and check his account balance, only to find it very low. Later on, we see him working two part-time jobs to save money for his own ordinary future. While working, he's visited by Hanabi, who offers him her notes for an upcoming quiz. He happily accepts them, but then sees her leaving with another guy, holding hands. In the night, as Kimimaro is trying to study for the pop quiz, a mysterious man named Masakakai approaches him. He takes him to an empty space and announces that Kimimaro has been chosen to become an entrepreneur at a mysterious bank, as a spot has become available. Although he doesn't fully accept the offer, the next day Kimimaro is surprised to find 500,000 yen deposited into his account. While contemplating what to do with the money, Kimimaro considers using a small amount to attend a party with Hanabi. However, as he withdraws the money, Masakaki approaches him yet again, manipulates his mind, and puts him into a taxi, heading to the Financial District. As Kimimaro enters the Financial District, Masakaki explains the rules to him. He must participate in a weekly duel called a deal to earn money. In these duels, each player fights using their assigned asset, a partner with special abilities. Kimimaro summons his asset, Misio, who takes the form of a girl. Masakaki introduces Kimimaro to his first opponent, a powerful asset named Gig. Although Kimimaro is confused, Misio bravely defends him and sustains significant damage. However, she teaches Kimimaro how to use her abilities, enabling him to defeat Gig. Unfortunately, the exertion causes Kimimaro to lose consciousness. When Kimimaro wakes up in the real world, Masakaki informs him that the next deal will take place in a week. Kimimaro notices the same strange card on the ground, through which she communicates with Misio. He's surprised to discover that he has even more money in his account. Additionally, while working, Kimimaro begins to notice that some money bills appear black, which Misio explains are currency from the Financial District. One day, Kimimaro unexpectedly meets Mikuni, who explains the significance of the black bills, known as Midas money. During their conversation, Mikuni drops hints about Kimimaro's father, before departing from the scene. A few days later, a new character named Jennifer Sato is introduced. Jennifer belongs to an organization that seeks to uncover the purpose of the Financial District. She spies on both Mikuni and Kimimaro, gathering information about the district and its origins. While conducting her investigation, she recalls her first invitation to the district, reflecting on her memories. Meanwhile, Kimimaro visits his aunt to inquire about his parents, who vanished under mysterious circumstances. While going through his father's belongings, he discovers a journal related to the Midas Bank. As he flips through the pages, he stumbles upon something intriguing and decides to seek answers in the Financial District. Kimimaro attempts to question Misakaki about his father, but Misakaki refuses to provide any information. Suddenly, Mikuni appears and takes Kimimaro to meet a peculiar photographer, who reveals his father was a formidable entree, aka player. Tragically, Kimimaro's father went bankrupt in a deal and ended up taking his own life. Initially, Kimimaro feels frustrated and annoyed that his father seemed to prioritize money above all else. However, Mikuni suggests that his father's focus on money might have been motivated by the intention to provide for his family's well-being. As Kimimaro opens his father's journal again, he comes across a picture of his father holding a baby Kimimaro. Mikuni suggests that Kimimaro should find something or someone to utilize his money for, as money without purpose is meaningless. A few days later, Kimimaro enters his second deal with Jennifer. Mikuni and other players observe the proceedings. However, Kimimaro is surprised to find that his opponent in the deal is none other than his own schoolteacher, Mr. Ibarra. The battle begins and Kimimaro experiences flashbacks of Mr. Ibarra's wife visiting the college and discussing her pregnancy with the students. The fight intensifies and in the end, Kimimaro emerges victorious, causing Mr. Ibarra to go bankrupt in the process. The following day, Kimimaro is shocked to see Mr. Ibarra acting as if nothing happened. After class, Kimimaro approaches him to inquire about the fight. Mr. Ibarra invites him to his house for a conversation after college. To Kimimaro's astonishment, he discovers that there are no traces of Mr. Ibarra's children. Ibarra reveals that he entered deals in order to support his family. As a consequence of going bankrupt, his children were erased from existence. Ibarra also mentions a peculiar guild called the Starling Guild, to which Mikuni belongs, that aims to prevent the financial district's impact on the real world. He asks Kimimaro to keep fighting on his behalf because Kimimaro is the only one who retains memories of his children. The next day, Kimimaro meets up with Mikuni, who takes him to observe one of his duels against another high-level entree. Mikuni intentionally restrains his strength and wins it by a slim 1% margin, to minimize the impact on the real world. After witnessing the duel, Kimimaro becomes determined not to lose, as he doesn't want to subject anyone else to suffering. Feeling determined, Kimimaro decides to visit the Starling Guild and give their method a try. Mikuni at the guild explains to Kimimaro the purpose of the guild, which is to win deals by small margins to minimize the impact on reality. In his next deal, Kimimaro attempts to apply this method, but Misu acts impulsively, causing him to fail and lose some money. On his way back to the real world, the taxi driver informs Kimimaro that even a small loss can have significant impacts on one's future. Worried about the potential consequences for his friends and family, Kimimaro is relieved to discover that his only loss seems to have affected his test results. Later, Kimimaro witnesses the same person who fought against Mikuni engaging in another deal. However, to his surprise, the person loses and dies the following day. It's revealed that he was the owner of Basho Pharmaceutical Company, a crucial player in Japan's economy. With his demise, the economy is on the verge of collapsing. Kimimaro becomes concerned about the impact on thousands of people if the company were to go bankrupt through deals. However, he learns that the company was actually acquired by another company owned by Mikuni, with the aim of minimalizing its effects on reality. Later, Mikuni explains to Kimimaro that he is striving to maintain a delicate balance between the financial district and reality. Choosing one over the other would lead to chaos. Motivated by this understanding, Kimimaro decides to join the Starling Guild and begins to gain control over his deals. A few days later, Jennifer discovers that Kimimaro's next opponent is a celebrity named Ko Sonoza. Meanwhile, after Kimimaro defeats his current opponent, he's approached by Ko himself. Ko offers him a way to pass on his deal, covering all the losses. He gives Kimimaro some time to think it over and leaves. Later, while waiting, Kimimaro is unexpectedly kidnapped by Jennifer, who assures him that she only wants to talk. Jennifer is determined to bring down the financial district, seeing it as the only solution to the problems it causes. She invites Kimimaro to join her cause and gives him time to consider her offer. The next day, Kimimaro discusses the situation with Ko, who explains that every time the guild tries to save the economy, more Midas money appears in the real world. Feeling conflicted about what to do, Kimimaro eventually reaches a decision and decides to battle Ko. However, as the battle begins, Ko's powerful asset inflicts significant damage on Misu, as she defends Kimimaro. With a determination to protect the things dear to him, Kimimaro summons the strength to defeat Ko. Although Ko faces some financial impacts, he maintains a positive attitude, believing that he has the potential to fight his way out of the financial district and regain what he has lost. It's about time that Mikuni's past is revealed. We learn that Mikuni gave up his hobby as a rock musician to work as a secretary under his father. His younger sister, Takako, is critically ill and hospitalized. The doctors recommend moving her to a better hospital for treatment. However, Kimimaro's father prioritizes investing money in his company rather than getting Takako the necessary medical care. As a result, Takako's condition worsens, and she falls into a coma. In the meantime, Mikuni focuses on his business ventures, driven by his desire for revenge against his father. A few days later, he's approached by Masakaki and offered a chance to join the financial district. Mikuni accepts the offer without hesitation and begins participating in deals within the district, eventually taking control of his father's business. In the present, Misu, Kimimaro's asset, reflects on her relationship with him, hinting at the possibility of developing feelings for him. Kimimaro becomes curious about the nature of futures that manifest in assets. When he witnesses an entree teasing his asset, he initially suppresses his irritation. However, after talking with Misu, he decides to confront and fight against the entree. As Kimimaro returns home that night, he notices that several buildings have vanished as a consequence of the deals taking place in the financial district. As days go by, the assets in the financial district continue to decrease rapidly, resulting in numerous players going bankrupt. The consequences manifest in the real world, with people disappearing at an alarming rate. The once lively streets become desolate, turning the town into a ghostly shell. Kimimaro becomes acutely aware of the empty classrooms and the deteriorating state of the country. While wandering around outside the college, he notices Nabara on the rooftop and decides to approach him. In a critical moment, Kimimaro intervenes, preventing Nabara from jumping off the building. After stopping Ibara from taking his own life, Kimimaro pleads with Masakaki to allow him to pay a fee to restore Ibara's future. However, he learns that such a decision is beyond Masakaki's control. It's revealed that there is a higher authority in the financial district, known as the boss, who sets and enforces the rules. Later, upon returning to the real world, Kimimaro receives news from the other teachers that Ibara has died in a car accident. Overwhelmed by grief, Kimimaro attempts to burn a large sum of Midas money as an expression of his anger and frustration. Meanwhile, Mikuni and the Starling Guild plan to confront a looming threat known as C. C is a phenomenon in which a country loses all of its assets in the financial district, leading to its complete annihilation from existence. It's a chain reaction that affects neighboring countries, causing them to be impacted by the same fate. In the present scenario, the Southeast Asian financial district goes bankrupt, resulting in the disappearance of Singapore. As the wave of C spreads, parts of Hong Kong and Shanghai are also affected. As the C phenomenon reaches Japan, the stock market begins to collapse. Mikuni, using his card Darkness and its unique ability, decides to preserve Japan as it was before the financial collapse of the Southeast Asian financial district. In exchange for 20 years of Mikuni's future, Misakaki allows the printing of a significant amount of Midas money, which is deposited into Mikuni's account. Mikuni and his colleagues then use the Midas money to invest in failing institutions throughout Japan, significantly propping up the economy and preventing its collapse. However, these actions have unintended consequences. Japan's future starts to change, and the once happy faces of its people turn into soulless expressions. People begin to disappear, poverty increases, birth rates decline, and overall morale deteriorates. Kimimaro, deeply concerned about his friend Hanabi, decides to visit her house, only to discover her hanging on the brink of extinction. Filled with worry, he gathers his courage and resolves to join Jennifer in their quest to stop the financial district. Meanwhile, Mikuni witnesses the devastating effects of his decisions and is overcome with grief, realizing the impending downfall of the financial district. In the midst of the effects of C reaching the American district, the North American financial district takes a different approach. The entrees from the North American district flood the world economy with US dollars, causing the value of their assets to increase. This allows them to bounce back and counteract the effects of C, redirecting it back towards Japan. Mikuni, realizing the gravity of the situation, decides to use the black card and the Midas money press once again to prevent another financial collapse in Japan. He creates money in exchange for Japan's future, attempting to stabilize the economy. However, Jennifer, Kimimaro, and Takatazaki have their own plan to stop Mikuni before the transaction is completed in order to save the future. Kimimaro and Jennifer request a deal and confront the guild members, while Takatazaki hacks the system, causing money to fall from the sky and decrease the value of the yen. In the financial district, Kimimaro engages in a battle against one of the guild members, while Jennifer fights against Mikuni himself. Kimimaro manages to defeat the guild member, but the plan takes a turn for the worse when Mikuni defeats Jennifer in their deal. As Jennifer's about to go bankrupt, she offers her asset to Kimimaro and asks him to take care of her future. Confronting Mikuni about his use of the Midas money press, Kimimaro's pleas go unheard as Mikuni chooses to print once again, sacrificing the rest of his own future. However, in a sudden turn of events, Misakaki appears, acting on the orders of the higher-ups. Kimimaro is given a darkness card of his own, granting him the power to revert the printing of money. This leads to a struggle for control over the press, with Mikuni and Kimimaro engaging in a deal to determine the outcome. They go all out against each other. Mikuni initially puts Kimimaro in a difficult situation, but his powers begin to weaken due to the decreasing value of the yen. As people start realizing the true nature of Midas money, the battle between Kimimaro and Mikuni reaches its climax. Misyu pleads with Q, who is actually based on Takako, to stop the battle, and takes on Takako's form. Eventually, the Midas money disappears from the world, along with Mikuni's powers, allowing Kimimaro to land the winning blow. With the disappearance of the Midas money, the sea phenomenon passes through Japan without causing any influence, leaving the country without a future. Kimimaro is declared the winner and orders the printing to be reversed, returning the futures to their original owners. As a result, the assets start disappearing, and Misyu gives Kimimaro a kiss before fading away. In a limbo-like state, Kimimaro finally meets the higher-up, who appears godlike. The higher-up confirms that what Kimimaro did was the right thing, and reveals that the purpose of the financial district is to relieve people from their problems, not to cause them. Later, Kimimaro returns to reality to find that the US dollar has become Japan's official currency, and everyone's futures have been restored to their rightful places. While some futures have changed, they've not come to an end. Kimimaro takes out a picture from his pocket, smiles softly as he looks at it, and the anime comes to a close.